There's something haunting about the silence of an abandoned city, the way the wind whispers through crumbling walls, the way sunlight filters over stones worn smooth by centuries. But what if these ruins hold more than just echoes of the past? What if they're hiding secrets that could rewrite history? Picture this: beneath the dust of forgotten civilizations lie clues to technologies so advanced, so inexplicable, that they defy everything we thought we knew about ancient ingenuity. From towering structures built with precision that rivals modern engineering to cryptic artifacts that hint at energy sources we can't even replicate today, these cities are more than relics, they're puzzles waiting to be solved. Today, we're embarking on a journey to 24 of the most enigmatic abandoned cities across the globe, places where the line between myth and reality blurs. These aren't just empty shells of the past, they're time capsules preserving fragments of knowledge lost to the ages. Think of the towering ziggurats of Mesopotamia, where legends speak of celestial connections, or the labyrinthine tunnels beneath South American ruins, carved with tools that shouldn't have existed. How did ancient builders achieve such feats without the technology we take for granted? The answers might lie buried in these silent streets, waiting for us to piece them together. This isn't just a tour of ruins, it's a detective story, one that stretches back thousands of years. Every cracked pillar, every faded inscription, every strange artifact is a clue pointing to a world far more sophisticated than our history books admit. By the time we're done, you'll see these ancient sites not as graveyards of the past, but as libraries of forgotten innovation. So let's step into the shadows of these abandoned cities together and uncover the truths they've been guarding for millennia. The story of human ingenuity is far richer and far stranger than you've ever imagined. Deep in the rolling hills of southeastern Turkey, a mystery carved in stone rises from the earth. Göbekli Tepe, a sprawling temple complex that shatters our understanding of prehistoric societies. Dating back over 11,000 years, this ancient site isn't just old. It's staggeringly advanced, built 6,000 years before the first wheel was even invented. The massive limestone pillars, some weighing more than 20 tons, are arranged in perfect circles, adorned with intricate carvings of animals so detailed they seem to leap from the rock. But here's the puzzle. Conventional archaeology tells us the people who built this were hunter-gatherers, nomads who shouldn't have had the tools or the know-how to create something so precise. So how did they do it? The craftsmanship alone is mind-boggling. Without metal chisels or modern machinery, these ancient builders shaped and transported colossal stones with an accuracy that rivals modern stonemasonry. Some researchers speculate they might have used a forgotten technique, perhaps harnessing sound vibrations to soften stone, or employing a primitive but effective pulley system lost to time. Even more intriguing are the celestial alignments. Certain pillars point directly to key stars and solstice events, suggesting these early people had an advanced grasp of astronomy, knowledge that, according to mainstream history, shouldn't have existed for thousands more years. What makes Göbekli Tepe truly unsettling is what it implies about human progress. If hunter-gatherers could achieve this, what else were they capable of? Could there have been a lost epoch of innovation, a golden age of technology erased by time? The site was deliberately buried around 8000 BCE, as if someone wanted to preserve or hide its secrets. Today, only a fraction of the complex has been excavated, leaving us to wonder what other revelations lie beneath the soil. One thing's certain, Göbekli Tepe isn't just a temple. It's a challenge, daring us to rethink everything we thought we knew about the dawn of civilization. Moving east from the ancient stones of Göbekli Tepe, we arrive at another marvel that defies expectations: Mohenjo-Daro, the crown jewel of the Indus Valley civilization. Nestled in what's now modern-day Pakistan, this city thrived over 4,000 years ago, yet its sophistication rivals urban centers of far later eras. Walk its streets and you'll find something astonishing: a meticulously planned grid system with straight roads intersecting at perfect right angles and buildings constructed with uniformity so precise it feels modern. But the real genius lies beneath the surface, literally. Mohenjo-Daro's advanced drainage system, complete with covered sewers and household bathrooms, wouldn't be out of place in a 19th century city. How did a civilization from the Bronze Age master urban planning with such foresight? One of the most baffling clues comes from the bricks themselves. Every brick in Mohenjo-Daro adheres to a standardized ratio, as if mass-produced by some ancient factory. This level of consistency suggests a centralized authority or a system of measurement far ahead of its time. Then there's the art, tiny yet bursting with life, like the famous dancing girl statue. Cast in bronze with a lifelike posture and confident stance, she hints at a society that valued both technical skill and artistic expression. But the most tantalizing mystery revolves around the city's sudden decline and the strange vitrified stones found scattered among its ruins. These rocks show signs of having been exposed to extreme heat, enough to melt their surfaces. Some theorists speculate this could point to an ancient energy source or even a catastrophic event lost to history. What happened to the people of Mohenjo-Daro? Unlike other ancient cities, there's no evidence of war or invasion. Instead, the streets were simply abandoned. Was it climate change, a shift in trade routes, or something more enigmatic, like the loss of a technology that sustained them? The Indus Valley script remains undeciphered, locking away their secrets in symbols we can't yet read. Until we crack that code, Mohenjo-Daro stands as a silent witness to a civilization that achieved greatness only to vanish, leaving behind questions etched in brick and stone. High above the Mexican plateau, shrouded in the golden haze of dawn, the pyramids of Teotihuacan rise with a grandeur that still takes your breath away. Known as the City of the Gods, this metropolis thrived nearly 2,000 years ago, yet its secrets remain as enigmatic as the day it was abandoned. Walk down the Avenue of the Dead, flanked by towering temples, and you can't shake the feeling that every stone here was placed with intention. The pyramids of the sun and moon don't just dominate the skyline, they align with celestial precision, mirroring the positions of planets and constellations in ways that suggest a deep, almost sacred understanding of the cosmos. But how did a civilization without telescopes or modern mathematics achieve such astronomical accuracy? The mysteries only deepen when you examine the materials. Embedded within the walls of Teotihuacan structures lies mica, a mineral with remarkable insulating properties, often used in modern electronics. This wasn't just decorative, it was layered in thick sheets, as if the builders understood its ability to regulate temperature and even block radiation. Why would an ancient city need such technology? Some researchers speculated could have been part of an energy system, or perhaps a safeguard against something we've yet to uncover. Then there's the city's layout itself, a geometric masterpiece. The angles and proportions of its streets and pyramids encode mathematical principles like the golden ratio, a concept not formally recognized until millennia later. Was this intentional or evidence of a knowledge so ingrained in their culture that it didn't need to be written down? Speaking of writing, that's the most haunting gap in Teotihuacan's story. Unlike the Maya or Aztecs, this civilization left no decipherable records, no chronicles of kings, no manuals of engineering. Their silence forces us to read the city itself like a cryptic blueprint. The sheer scale of construction hints at a society with organizational skills bordering on the supernatural. Thousands of workers moved millions of cubic feet of stone, all without beasts of burden or wheeled carts. The logistics alone would challenge modern project managers, and then, around the year 550 CE, the city was emptied. No signs of war, no evidence of plague, just a slow, deliberate exodus, as if the people knew their time here was complete. What lingers in Teotihuacan's vacant plazas isn't just the ghost of a lost civilization. It's the tantalizing possibility that its builders operated on a level of sophistication we're only beginning to grasp. Were they tapping into forgotten sciences, harnessing energies we've yet to rediscover? Every stone, every alignment, every layer of mica whispers the same question. How much did they know that we've yet to learn? Out in the vast blue expanse of the Pacific, where the ocean meets the sky, lies a city so strange it feels like it was lifted from a myth, Nan Madol. Imagine a network of 92 artificial islands, each one built atop a coral reef with colossal basalt logs stacked like matchsticks, forming walls that rise 25 feet high. These stones aren't just heavy, some weigh as much as 50 tons, yet they were somehow maneuvered into place centuries ago in one of the most remote corners of the world. How did builders without wheels, pulleys, or metal tools achieve this? The local oral traditions whisper of two sorcerer brothers who flew the stones through the air, using magic to weave the city into existence. But beneath the legend lies a puzzle that even modern engineers struggle to solve. The basalt columns themselves are a geological marvel, prismatic shafts quarried from volcanic rock miles away, then transported across open water to this isolated reef. No one knows for certain how they did it, but some researchers point to clues hidden in the construction. The stones fit together with an almost puzzle-like precision, locking into place without mortar. This has led to theories about an ancient form of concrete or binding agent that could have helped stabilize the structures. Others suggest the builders might have used floating barges or bamboo scaffolding, techniques lost to time. Then there's the eerie precision of the canals crisscrossing the city, earning it the nickname Venice of the Pacific. These waterways weren't just for transport, they may have served a deeper purpose, possibly tied to rituals or even energy flow, given the site's strange magnetic anomalies. What's most haunting about Nan Madol isn't just how it was built, but why it was abandoned. By the time European explorers stumbled upon it in the 19th century, the city was already a ghostly shell, its towering walls reclaimed by jungle and silence. No records explain its downfall, only fragments of stories about curses and rulers who overstepped divine limits. Could the city's isolation have been its undoing, cutting it off from vital resources? Or was there something more, a forgotten catastrophe, or the loss of a technology that sustained it? The truth might still lie buried in the coral and stone, waiting for the right clue to unlock its secrets. For now, Nan Madol remains a testament to human ingenuity, a place where the line between history and legend blurs into the waves. Rising from the golden grasslands of southern Africa, the stone walls of Great Zimbabwe curve and climb with a quiet majesty that defies time. This isn't just another ruin, it's a testament to a civilization that mastered the art of dry stone construction, stacking granite blocks so precisely that not a drop of mortar was needed to hold them together for over 800 years. The scale is staggering, walls stretching 30 feet high, enclosures sprawling across nearly 2 square miles, and a conical tower that seems to anchor the entire city to the earth. But what's truly remarkable isn't just the craftsmanship, it's the story behind it, one that colonial powers once tried desperately to erase. When European explorers first stumbled upon Great Zimbabwe in the 19th century, they couldn't or wouldn't believe Africans had built it. Some spun wild tales of Phoenician traders or even the biblical Queen of Sheba as its architects, dismissing the idea that indigenous people could create something so sophisticated. But modern archaeology has shattered those myths, revealing a thriving Shona kingdom that flourished here between the 11th and 15th centuries. The city was a hub of trade, its gold and ivory flowing as far as China and the Middle East, while its rulers oversaw a society rich in art, astronomy, and governance. The very stones whisper of their ingenuity, walls designed to funnel cool breezes, hidden passages that may have served ceremonial purposes, and alignments with solstice events that hint at a celestial calendar. The real mystery lies in the techniques. How did builders transport and shape these massive granite blocks without metal tools? Some researchers point to thermal fracturing, a method where fires were lit against the stone, then doused with water to create clean fractures. Others suggest an intricate system of levers and ramps, though no direct evidence survives. Even more intriguing are the site's acoustics. Certain enclosures amplify sound in unnatural ways, leading to theories about ritual spaces where voice and vibration played a sacred role. Was this purely spiritual, or could it hint at a deeper understanding of resonance as a tool? Then there's the abandonment. Like so many of these lost cities, Great Zimbabwe was left behind, its people dispersing quietly around the 15th century. Climate shifts, overuse of resources, or something more profound, a cultural evolution that rendered the city obsolete? The answers may lie buried in the soil, waiting for the right hands to uncover them. What's undeniable is this: Great Zimbabwe stands as a defiant rebuke to those who underestimated Africa's ancient brilliance. Its stones don't just hold the past, they challenge us to see history with new eyes. Beneath the sun-baked plains of Cappadocia, where fairy chimneys dot the landscape like something from a dream, lies a hidden world that defies imagination. Derinkuyu. This isn't just a cave or a simple tunnel network. It's an entire underground city, descending 18 levels deep into the earth, with space for 20,000 people. Picture a labyrinth of stone homes carved into rock, ventilation shafts plunging hundreds of feet to the surface, even stables for livestock, all concealed beneath the earth. The scale is staggering, but the real marvel is the precision. This wasn't haphazard digging. It was a feat of engineering so advanced that modern experts still debate how ancient builders pulled it off without modern tools or blueprints. The sophistication of Derinkuyu's design is what truly sets it apart. Airflow was meticulously managed through dozens of vertical shafts, ensuring fresh oxygen reached even the deepest chambers, a system so effective it rivals modern ventilation. Water wells tapped into underground rivers, providing a steady supply even during sieges. Massive circular stone doors weighing up to a ton could be rolled shut to seal off sections of the city, suggesting a people prepared for threats beyond mere invaders. But what kind of threat would drive an entire civilization underground? Some researchers point to ancient warfare, theorizing that Derinkuyu's inhabitants might have been fleeing something far more terrifying than conventional armies. Could it have been a refuge from aerial attacks, as fringe theories suggest? Or was it protection against an environmental catastrophe, a volcanic eruption perhaps, or a prolonged climate shift that made the surface uninhabitable? Then there's the mystery of the tools. The volcanic rock of Cappadocia is notoriously hard, yet the walls of Derinkuyu are smooth, with doorways and passages carved at perfect right angles. Simple chisels and hammers couldn't have achieved this level of precision. leading to speculation about lost technologies. Some carvings show symbols resembling energy sources or advanced machinery, though interpretations remain hotly debated. Even more puzzling is the city's age. While mainstream archaeology dates Derinkuyu to around the 8th century BCE, some geological analyses suggest parts of it could be far older, hinting at layers of construction spanning millennia. What happened to the people who called this place home? Unlike other abandoned cities, Derinkuyu shows no signs of violent overthrow or sudden disaster. Instead, it seems to have been gradually emptied, as if its purpose had been fulfilled, or its inhabitants had moved on to something else. Was it a temporary refuge, or did its builders know something we don't about cycles of destruction and rebirth? The silence of its corridors offers no easy answers, only echoes of a civilization that chose to live in the dark rather than face whatever lurked above. Derinkuyu isn't just a relic, it's a riddle carved in stone, challenging us to question not just how it was built, but why. From the shadowy depths of Derinkuyu, we emerge into the blazing sunlight of Jordan's desert, where the rose-red cliffs of Petra glow like embers at dawn. This isn't just a city carved into rock, it's a symphony in sandstone, a masterpiece of hydraulic engineering and artistic vision that thrived over 2,000 years ago. The Nabateans, Petra's builders, didn't just construct a city, they sculpted it, chiseling temples, tombs, and theaters directly into the living rock with a precision that still baffles modern stonemasons. But what's even more astonishing than the facades is what lies beneath them, an intricate network of dams, cisterns, and water channels that turned this arid canyon into a thriving oasis. In a place where rain falls just a handful of days each year, the Nabateans didn't just survive. They flourished, harnessing every precious drop with technology that feels almost supernatural. The secret to Petra's success was its water system, a labyrinth of ceramic pipes and stone conduits that could rival modern municipal engineering. They built dams to capture flash floods, diverting the torrents into reservoirs and filtering the water through settling tanks to remove sediment. Gravity did the rest, carrying water through miles of channels to homes, gardens, and even public fountains. Some conduits were so precisely angled that they prevented evaporation in the desert heat, while others included shut-off valves to control flow, a level of sophistication unseen elsewhere in the ancient world. How did they achieve such precision without modern surveying tools? Some researchers speculate they used a form of ancient leveling device, perhaps a water-filled trench or a weighted plumb line, but no direct evidence has survived. What's clear is that the Nabateans understood their environment with an intimacy that borders on clairvoyance, reading the land like a blueprint. Then there's the artistry. The treasury, Petra's most iconic facade, isn't just beautiful, it's a mathematical marvel. Every column, every decorative urn, every fluted capital follows proportions so exact that they couldn't have been achieved by eye alone. The symmetry suggests the use of templates or measuring rods, tools that would have allowed craftsmen to transfer designs from parchment to stone with near-perfect accuracy. But here's the puzzle: no such tools have ever been found. Were they made of perishable materials, or were they deliberately hidden or destroyed? Even more perplexing are the tool marks left behind. Some carvings show grooves so fine and uniform that they hint at specialized drills or abrasives, technologies not attributed to the Nabateans in mainstream history. Could they have had access to a lost method of stone cutting, one that allowed them to work sandstone like butter? Petra's abandonment is as enigmatic as its construction. By the 7th century CE, the city was virtually deserted, its grand facades left to the wind and sand. Traditional explanations point to shifting trade routes, as Roman maritime routes bypassed overland caravans. Others suggest earthquakes, pointing to cracks in the cliffs that match known seismic activity. But there's a third possibility, one that lingers in the whispers of local Bedouin tribes, the idea that Petra's people outgrew their need for the city, moving on to something greater. Could they have taken their knowledge with them, leaving behind not a failure but a fulfilled purpose? The silence of Petra's empty colonnades offers no easy answers, only the haunting certainty that its builders knew more than we've yet uncovered. Rising from the emerald canopy of Guatemala's rainforest, the limestone temples of Tikal pierce the sky like stone giants frozen in time. This isn't just a city, it's a celestial observatory, a testament to the Maya's intimate dance with the cosmos. Climb the steps of Temple Roman IV, the tallest pre-Columbian structure in the Americas, and you'll understand why the Maya called this place Yaxmutul, the place where voices echo through the trees. But these pyramids aren't just tall, they're meticulously positioned, their alignments mirroring the movements of Venus, the Sun, and even the Milky Way with precision that would challenge modern astronomers. How did a civilization without telescopes or advanced optics map the heavens so accurately? The answer lies in the Mayas' obsession with time. Their long count calendar, spanning over 5,000 years, wasn't just a way to mark days, it was a complex mathematical machine, tracking planetary cycles down to the minute. Recent studies of Tikal's structures reveal something even more startling. Certain temples act as acoustic amplifiers, designed to project a ruler's voice across vast plazas or create eerie echoes that mimic the calls of sacred animals. At the Great Jaguar Temple, a clap at the base of the stairs produces a chirping sound identical to the Quetzal bird, a creature revered as a messenger of the gods. Was this intentional? The physics suggest it couldn't be accidental, pointing to a mastery of sound waves centuries before the science of acoustics existed. Yet Tikal's greatest mystery isn't how it thrived but why it fell. By the 9th century CE, this bustling metropolis of 100,000 people was abandoned, its grandeur swallowed by jungle. Traditional theories blame drought or deforestation, pointing to evidence of reservoirs drained dry and soil eroded by overfarming. But some researchers propose a darker possibility. The Mayas' own prophecies spoke of cyclical destruction, and their calendar systems hint at an awareness of cosmic threats, solar flares perhaps, or asteroid cycles. Could they have foreseen an environmental tipping point modern science is only now beginning to understand? Then there's the enigma of their technology. The Maya had no metal tools, yet they carved intricate astronomical tables into stone with laser-like precision. Their understanding of zero revolutionized mathematics, while their glyphs contain cryptic references to timekeepers and star watchers who seem to wield knowledge beyond their era. Most tantalizing of all is the recent discovery of mercury beneath some pyramids, a substance linked in Maya mythology to portals to the underworld, but also a conductor of energy. Was this mere symbolism or evidence of a lost understanding of materials we've only recently rediscovered? Today, Tikal's silence is deafening. The howler monkeys that swing through its ruins seem to guard secrets etched into every stela, every corbelled arch. This was a city that turned stone into poetry, and the sky into a clockwork, a civilization that may have known too much too soon. As we piece together their legacy, one question lingers. Were the Maya simply brilliant observers of the natural world, or were they keepers of technologies we've yet to fully comprehend? The answers might still lie buried beneath the roots of ceiba trees, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Emerging from the dense jungles of Cambodia like a mirage of stone and reflection, Angkor Wat stands as a monument not just to faith, but to an empire's astonishing command over water itself. While its soaring spires and intricate bas-reliefs draw millions of visitors, the real genius of this ancient city lies beneath the surface, literally. Recent LiDAR scans have peeled back the jungle's veil, revealing a sprawling metropolis interlaced with thousands of miles of canals, reservoirs, and aqueducts, transforming our understanding of what was once the world's largest pre-industrial city. This wasn't just a temple complex, it was the beating heart of a hydraulic empire where water wasn't just a resource, it was the very foundation of power. At the center of this aquatic marvel lies the West Barre, a man-made reservoir stretching over 5 miles long and holding nearly 2 billion gallons of water. To put that into perspective, it's large enough to be visible from space, a feat of engineering that would challenge modern builders even with heavy machinery. The Khmer engineers didn't just move earth, they sculpted an entire watershed using gravity-fed channels to distribute water across thousands of acres of rice paddies, ensuring abundance in a landscape prone to monsoons and droughts alike. The precision is staggering. Some canals maintain a gradient of just 1 degree over miles, a level of accuracy that suggests advanced surveying tools far beyond simple sighting sticks. How did they achieve such perfection without modern instruments? Some researchers point to ancient Sanskrit texts describing water levels and plumb bobs, while others speculate about lost tools or even celestial navigation techniques tied to the temple's solstice alignments. Speaking of the heavens, Angkor Wat's relationship with the cosmos adds another layer of mystery. The temple's central tower aligns precisely with the sun during the spring equinox, casting a shadow that descends like a serpent along the northern staircase, a phenomenon some believe symbolized the divine union of earth and sky. But was this purely symbolic, or could it have served a practical purpose? Certain canals mirror the path of the Milky Way, leading to theories that the entire hydraulic system functioned as a kind of astronomical clock, with water flow regulated by celestial events. This idea isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. The Khmer's documented lunar cycles with remarkable accuracy, and their calendar systems integrated hydrological data to predict monsoon patterns. Were they using the stars not just for worship but as a guide for engineering? Then there's the puzzle of Angkor's collapse. For centuries, historians blamed invasion or overpopulation, but LiDAR has rewritten that narrative. The scans show evidence of catastrophic flooding, with sediment layers suggesting the hydraulic system failed catastrophically, possibly due to a series of supercharged monsoons linked to the medieval warm period. But here's the twist: some canals appear to have been deliberately blocked or rerouted just before the collapse. Was this a desperate attempt to control raging waters, or could it hint at a deeper vulnerability? A few fringe researchers propose an even wilder idea that the Khmers relied on a now-lost water stabilizing technology, perhaps a natural polymer or mineral additive that fortified their reservoirs against erosion. When this knowledge vanished, whether through war, migration, or disaster, the entire system may have become unstable. Today, as archaeologists sift through the LiDAR data, Angkor Wat whispers a cautionary tale. Its genius wasn't just in moving water, but in harmonizing with the natural world on a scale we're only beginning to grasp. The real lesson of this jungle-clad marvel isn't how it fell, but how it thrived for 6 centuries, turning the monsoon's fury into a lifeline. In an age of climate uncertainty, that's a secret worth uncovering. Perched atop the windswept plateau of central Turkey, the ruins of Hattusa stand as a silent testament to one of history's most enigmatic superpowers, the Hittites. This wasn't just a city, it was a fortress of innovation, its cyclopean stone walls stretching over 4 miles, built with blocks so massive that later civilizations believed only giants could have moved them. But what truly set Hattusa apart wasn't just its defenses, it was the technological secrets whispered in its cuneiform tablets. clay records that hint at a mastery of metals and energy far beyond their time. The Hittites were the ironmongers of the ancient world, their forges producing weapons and tools of unmatched quality. While other Bronze Age cultures struggled with brittle copper alloys, Hittite smiths unlocked the secret to tempering iron, a technique so coveted that their kings guarded it like state secrets. Recent excavations have uncovered furnaces capable of reaching temperatures over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit heat levels that shouldn't have been achievable with simple charcoal bellows. Could they have harnessed alternative fuel sources or even catalytic processes lost to history? The tablets speak of rituals involving fire from the gods, descriptions some researchers interpret as early experiments with chemical accelerants or even primitive electricity. One particularly cryptic text describes a shining rod that illuminated temples, sparking theories about gold-plated conductors or stored static energy. But the real mystery lies in Hattusa's abrupt demise. Around 1200 BCE, at the peak of its power, the city was emptied not by conquest, but by what appears to be a deliberate evacuation. The gates were left open, valuables abandoned, and crucibles still filled with molten metal were found frozen in time. This coincided with the wider Bronze Age collapse, a cataclysmic period when civilizations from Greece to Egypt crumbled almost overnight. Traditional explanations point to invading sea peoples or climate shifts, but Hattusa's case is peculiar. Geological cores from nearby lakes reveal traces of heavy metals and sulfur dating to the exact century of its fall, leading to speculation about industrial accidents or even energy experiments gone awry. Could the Hittites have stumbled upon and then lost control of a technology too advanced for their era? The city's final days are etched in its ruins. In one district, archaeologists found streets paved with slag, as if the very ground had been scorched by unimaginable heat. Nearby, a trove of tablets was deliberately smashed, their fragments buried in a pattern suggesting ritual destruction. Was this an act of desperation, an attempt to seal away dangerous knowledge, or did the Hittites themselves become victims of forces they barely understood? The answers might lie in the unread tablets still buried beneath Hattusa's gates, messages from a civilization that straddled the line between myth and science, waiting for us to decipher their warnings. Nestled in the arid Soup Valley of Peru, where the desert meets the foothills of the Andes, the ancient city of Caral rises from the dust like a mirage of harmony. Dating back over 5,000 years, this sprawling complex of pyramids, plazas, and circular amphitheaters isn't just old, it's a blueprint for a civilization that seemed to defy the chaos of its time. Walk among its sun-baked ruins and you'll notice something startling. Not a single weapon, fortification, or trace of warfare has ever been unearthed here. In a world where ancient cities often bore the scars of conflict, Caral stands as a rare testament to what might have been a truly peaceful society. But how did they achieve such architectural grandeur without the driving force of conquest or defense? The answer might lie in the very stones beneath your feet. Caral's builders employed a technique called shikra, bundles of woven reeds filled with stones, to create earthquake-resistant foundations. These ingenious shock absorbers allowed their pyramids to withstand the tremors that ripple through this seismically active region, some structures enduring for millennia. Modern engineers have studied these designs, marveling at how the alternating layers of shikra and stone mimic principles used in contemporary earthquake-proof buildings. But the innovation doesn't stop there. The city's layout reveals an almost musical precision, with structures positioned to amplify sound in ways that turn whispers into echoes. The main amphitheater, with its circular design and strategic acoustics, could project a speaker's voice to hundreds without strain. Was this an accident of design or evidence of a culture that harnessed vibration and resonance as tools of both ritual and social cohesion? Then there's the mystery of Caral's influence. Artifacts found here, like knotted cords resembling early quippers, the Inca's recording system, suggest this city may have been the cradle of Andean civilization, its knowledge radiating outward across generations. Yet for all its sophistication, Caral lacks something found in nearly every other ancient city: depictions of gods. Unlike the Maya or Egyptians, who filled their cities with divine imagery, Caral's art focuses on human figures and nature, hinting at a society that revered balance over deification. Some researchers speculate their religion might have been rooted in harmonic principles, viewing sound, architecture, and astronomy as interconnected forces. What silenced this symphony of stone? Unlike violent collapses elsewhere, Caral's end seems almost gentle, a gradual departure, as if its people simply walked away. Climate data reveals a prolonged drought around 4,000 years ago, but the city shows no signs of panic or struggle. Instead, the ruins suggest careful closure, with ceremonial fires lit and doorways sealed. Perhaps they knew their time was over, leaving behind not a warning, but an invitation, a challenge to reconsider how civilizations rise and fall. In Caral's quiet plazas, we don't just see the bones of a lost city, we hear the echo of a question: what if progress doesn't require conquest but harmony? The stones wait, as they have for 5,000 years, for us to listen. Deep in the jungles of Chiapas, where howler monkeys call from the treetops, the ruins of Palenque hide a secret that sparked debates for decades. At its heart lies the Temple of the Inscriptions, a pyramid that cradles one of archaeology's most enigmatic discoveries, the tomb of King Pakal the Great. But it's not the sarcophagus itself that's controversial. It's the intricately carved lid, a masterpiece of Mayan artistry that some claim depicts Pakal piloting a spacecraft. The image shows the king reclined in what looks like a seated position, surrounded by mechanical-like elements and flames, as if hurtling through the cosmos. Mainstream archaeologists argue it's a symbolic representation of Pakal's descent into the underworld, surrounded by sacred trees and celestial serpents. Yet the precision of the controls beneath his hands and the exhaust plumes beneath the vessel have fueled theories that the Maya might have witnessed or even possessed technology far beyond what we've credited them with. What makes Palenque truly extraordinary isn't just this one artifact, but the city's obsession with celestial mechanics. The Mayans here didn't just track Venus, they calculated its cycles with an error margin of just 2 hours over 500 years. Their observatories aligned with such precision that during solstices, sunlight pierces specific temple doorways to illuminate hidden carvings, turning stone into a celestial clock. Even more baffling are the hydraulic systems beneath the city, channels designed with a gradient so exact they functioned without pumps, using gravity to distribute water with near-modern efficiency. How did a civilization without metal tools or the wheel engineer such feats? The answer might lie in their glyphs. Palenque's inscriptions reference sky watchers, who recorded cosmic events with terminology so specific that some translations describe metal discs crossing the heavens or great lights that moved without fire. Were these metaphors for celestial bodies or something more tangible? The city's abandonment only deepens the mystery. Unlike other Mayan centers that fell to drought or warfare, Palenque's decline was strangely orderly. Its final inscriptions speak not of chaos but of a planned departure, as if its people were fulfilling a prophecy. The last dated carving references the end of a cycle, coinciding with a rare alignment of Mars and Jupiter, an event the Maya associated with the return of their gods. Could they have left expecting something or someone to follow? Today, Palink's ruins hum with unanswered questions, each stone a silent witness to a civilization that looked to the stars not just for guidance, but perhaps for something more. Whether you see Pakal's tomb as myth or evidence, one thing's certain: the Maya understood the cosmos in ways we're still struggling to decode. Their legacy isn't just in the past, it's a challenge to our future. Step into Çatalhöyük, a city so ancient it makes Egypt's pyramids seem like modern constructions. This sprawling Neolithic settlement in southern Turkey thrived 9,000 years ago, long before the invention of the wheel or written language, yet its design feels almost visionary. Imagine a honeycomb of mud brick homes packed so tightly together that there were no streets, no alleys, not even front doors. Instead, residents climbed down ladders from their rooftops to enter their homes, turning the city's terraced ceilings into a communal highway. It's a layout so unique that archaeologists still debate how such a system functioned without descending into chaos. But what's truly remarkable isn't just how they lived, it's what they left behind. The walls of Çatalhöyük are a canvas frozen in time, adorned with vibrant murals that pulse with life. Bulls leap in ochre and crimson, their muscles coiled with energy. Geometric patterns spiral with mathematical precision, some resembling fractals or celestial maps. At first glance, these might seem like ritual art, but closer inspection reveals something more. One famous mural, long dismissed as a hunting scene, shows a twin-peaked mountain under a sky filled with dots, a depiction some researchers argue could represent the eruption of nearby Hasan Dogi, complete with a star chart recording the event. If true, this wouldn't just be art. It would be one of humanity's earliest attempts to document natural phenomena scientifically. Were these paintings mere decorations, or a proto-scientific language etched in pigment? Beneath the artistry lies another mystery: the eerie uniformity of the homes. Every dwelling in Çatalhöyük follows nearly identical blueprints: square rooms with hearths, platforms for sleeping, and niches for storage. There are no palaces, no temples, no signs of a ruling class. Instead, the city radiates a quiet egalitarianism, with evidence suggesting resources were shared equally. Some archaeologists propose this points to a society organized around collective decision-making, a Neolithic experiment in social harmony that lasted for over 2 millennia. But how did they maintain such stability without hierarchies or written laws? The answer might lie in the bones. Burials beneath the floors reveal no signs of violence or malnutrition, hinting at a culture that mastered sustainability long before the term existed. Then, around 5900 BCE, something shifted. The ladders were pulled up, the hearths went cold, and Çatalhöyük was slowly abandoned. Unlike other cities felled by war or disaster, this departure feels deliberate, almost peaceful. Climate records suggest the surrounding plains grew drier, but the city had weathered shifts before. Perhaps the very equality that sustained it became its undoing without centralized leadership. Adapting to crisis may have proved impossible. Or maybe the mural artist saw something coming, a change recorded in symbols we've yet to decipher. What's certain is this: Çatalhöyük challenges our assumptions about primitive societies, offering a glimpse of a world where art, science, and community intertwine seamlessly. Its silence today isn't just a mystery, it's an invitation to rethink how civilizations rise, thrive, and sometimes choose to walk away. High on the windswept plains of Bolivia, where the thin air hums with whispers of the past, the ruins of Tiwanaku rise like a puzzle carved in stone. This ancient city, perched at nearly 13,000 feet above sea level, defies logic with its megalithic structures, blocks weighing hundreds of tons, fitted together so tightly that not even a razor blade can slip between them. The precision is so exact, so modern, that it's hard to believe these stones were cut and placed over 1,000 years ago without metal tools or mortar. But the real enigma stands in the heart of the city, the Gate of the Sun, a towering archway carved from a single block of andesite, its surface etched with intricate glyphs that some believe hold the secrets of time itself. The gate isn't just art, it's a celestial calculator. The central figure, often called the staff god, is surrounded by 32 squares, a number that aligns eerily with the solar cycles tracked by the Tiwanaku people. During the winter solstice, sunlight strikes the gate at an angle that illuminates specific carvings, as if marking a cosmic event. But here's the mystery. The gate was clearly moved from its original location, its base fractured and its purpose obscured. Was it once part of a larger astronomical complex, a stone observatory that could predict equinoxes or even eclipses? Some researchers argue the glyphs encode a calendar system far more advanced than anything in Europe at the time, while others see a map of constellations unknown to modern astronomy. Local legends only deepen the intrigue. The Aymara people speak of Viracocha, a bearded god who arrived in a time of chaos, bringing knowledge and order before vanishing across the Pacific. They say Tiwanaku was built in a single night by giants or divine hands, a myth that, stripped of its supernatural veneer, might hint at an advanced but forgotten construction technique. Recent experiments show that the stones could have been shaped using a combination of precise pounding and abrasive sand, a method requiring unimaginable patience and skill. But how did they transport these monoliths from quarries 50 miles away, across rugged terrain and without wheels? One theory suggests they used a network of reed boats and ramps during wet seasons, leveraging Lake Titicaca's ancient shoreline, which once lapped at the city's edges. Then there's the city's sudden collapse. By the year 1000 CE, Tiwanaku was abandoned, its canals dry, its temples silent. Unlike other civilizations felled by invasion, there's no evidence of violence, just a gradual dispersal, as if the people simply walked away. Soil samples reveal a centuries-long drought, but the Tiwanaku were master hydrologists, their raised field agriculture capable of surviving climate swings. Did their knowledge vanish with them, or was it carried elsewhere? The Gate of the Sun stands as a silent sentinel, its carvings a language we've yet to fully decipher. Every chip in the stone, every alignment of light, whispers the same question. What secrets did the builders of Tiwanaku take with them? Rising from the sun-baked hills of Greece like a fortress of myth, Mycenae stands as a monument to both power and mystery. This was no ordinary city, it was the stronghold of Agamemnon, the legendary king who led the Greeks to Troy, and its very stones seemed to pulse with the echoes of epic tales. The first thing you notice is the Lion Gate, its towering limestone slabs crowned by two massive lionesses carved in relief, their heads lost to time. The gate isn't just a symbol of strength, it's a marvel of Bronze Age engineering. The lintel alone weighs over 20 tons, yet it was hoisted into place with such precision that it stood unshaken for 3.5 millennia. How did they manage this without cranes or pulleys? The answer lies in the Mycenaean mastery of leverage and ramp systems, techniques so advanced they wouldn't be rivaled until the Roman era. But the real treasures of Mycenae were found not in its walls but beneath them. In 1876, archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann uncovered a trove of golden death masks in the royal tombs, including the famous and controversial Mask of Agamemnon. The mask's lifelike detail, hammered from a single sheet of gold, reveals a metalworking prowess that defies its age. Recent analyses show the Mycenaeans weren't just skilled, they were innovators, alloying metals to create durable tools and weapons far superior to those of their neighbors. Some daggers recovered from the site feature intricate inlays of silver and electrum. Their designs so delicate they suggest the use of magnifying lenses or other precision tools, artifacts that, if they existed, have never been found. What's most haunting about Mycenae isn't what remains, but what vanished. Around 1200 BCE, at the height of its power, the city was abandoned. Traditional histories blame the mysterious Sea Peoples or Dorian invaders, but the evidence tells a murkier story. The palace walls show no signs of battle, and the city's stores of food and valuables were left intact. Instead, archaeologists have found clues pointing to something more insidious, a society unraveling from within. Tablets written in Linear B, the Mycenaean script, speak of food shortages and unrest, while geological cores reveal a prolonged drought that would have crippled their agriculture. Yet there's another possibility, one whispered in the charred remnants of workshops. In one district, excavations uncovered layers of vitrified stone rock melted by extreme heat, a phenomenon usually linked to volcanic eruptions or warfare. But Mycenae sits far from any volcano, and the pattern of vitrification suggests a concentrated, controlled burn. Could the Mycenaeans have been experimenting with advanced metallurgy or energy sources, only to lose control? The Linear B tablets hint at great fires from the earth, descriptions some researchers interpret as failed industrial experiments. Whatever the truth, Mycenae's legacy endures not just as a cradle of Greek legend, but as a warning, a reminder that even the mightiest civilizations can be undone by forces they barely understand. Across the rolling plains of the Mississippi River, where the sky stretches endlessly over fields of grass, the earth itself rises into monuments of a forgotten world, Cahokia. This wasn't just a settlement, it was a thriving metropolis, home to tens of thousands at its peak around 1050 CE, dwarfing London and Paris of the same era. At its heart stood Monk's Mound, a colossal earthen pyramid covering 14 acres and rising 100 feet high. Its 4 terraces built with such precision that modern engineers marvel at its stability. The labor involved in moving 55 million cubic feet of soil basket by basket, without beasts of burden or metal tools, speaks to a level of social organization rivaling the great civilizations of Mesoamerica. But Cahokia's true genius wasn't just in its mounds, it was in the invisible networks that bound this city together. Take the so-called woodhenge, a series of large cedar posts arranged in concentric circles just west of Monk's Mound. Archaeologists initially dismissed it as a simple calendar, but recent studies reveal it's far more sophisticated. The posts align not only with solstices and equinoxes, but also with key lunar events, marking the 18.6-year cycle of the moon's wanderings, a phenomenon so complex that many medieval European astronomers struggled to track it. Some researchers believe these alignments guided planting cycles, while others argue they orchestrated grand ceremonies, turning the heavens into a celestial stage. Either way, the knowledge required to design such a system hints at a scientific tradition passed down through generations, one that left no written records but spoke volumes in timber and soil. Then there's the mystery of Cahokia's economy. Excavations have unearthed seashells from the Gulf of Mexico, copper from the Great Lakes, and mica from the Appalachians, proof of trade routes spanning thousands of miles. But what did they trade in return? The answer might lie in the blackened soil patches found near the mounds. These aren't just hearths, they're remnants of large-scale corn production, suggesting Cahokia may have been the Silicon Valley of its day, exporting agricultural surplus or even proprietary seed strains. Some botanists point to evidence of selectively bred maize with higher yields, a technology that could have given the city economic dominance. Yet by the 13th century, this system collapsed. Traditional theories blame deforestation or flooding, but soil samples tell a subtler story. Layers of silt show periods of intense rainfall followed by droughts, a climatic roller coaster that would have strained even the most resilient farms. But here's the puzzle: Cahokia's decline wasn't sudden. It was a slow unraveling, with neighborhoods abandoned one by one, as if the city were being deliberately dismantled. Some mounds show signs of ritual decommissioning, with layers of clean sand laid over structures, almost like ceremonial burials. Could this have been a planned retreat, a recognition that the land could no longer sustain their way of life? Or was there a deeper loss, a forgotten agricultural technique, perhaps a soil-enhancing practice or water management system that vanished with the last caretakers? Today, Cahokia's silent mounds stand as a testament to a civilization that mastered its environment, then faced the consequences when that balance failed. In their shadows, we're left to wonder, did they see the end coming? And if so, what wisdom did they take with them that we've yet to rediscover? Rising from the jungles of Sri Lanka like something out of a fantasy, Sigiriya, the Lion Rock fortress, defies logic at every turn. Picture this: a 200-meter-high column of sheer rock, its flat summit crowned with the ruins of a palace, accessible only by staircases carved into the cliff face. But what makes this 5th-century citadel truly astonishing isn't just its impossible location, it's the sophistication hidden in its stones. The moment you begin the ascent, you're greeted by the famous frescoes, vibrantly painted figures of women clinging to the rock face, their colors still luminous after 1,500 years of monsoons and sun. The pigments used here, ground minerals mixed with organic binders, have resisted fading in ways modern science still struggles to replicate. Were these mere decorations, or could they have served as some kind of coded message or celestial map? Halfway up the rock, you'll encounter the mirror wall, a polished parapet of such flawless sheen that it once reflected images like glass. Ancient texts describe it as a surface so perfect, the king could see himself while walking past it. Modern analysis reveals the secret: a glaze of mineral-rich clay, beeswax, and finely ground lime, buffed to a mirror finish. This wasn't just artistry, it was material science at a level unseen elsewhere in the ancient world. Some researchers speculate the wall might have doubled as a solar reflector, channeling light into shadowed passages, or even as a primitive signaling device, using sunlight to communicate across distances. Then there's the water gardens at the base of the rock, a hydraulic marvel that feels centuries ahead of its time. Channels, pools, and fountains operate on gravity-fed pressure systems, with underground conduits maintaining constant flow even during droughts. The precision of the engineering suggests the builders understood fluid dynamics in ways that wouldn't be formalized until the Renaissance. But the real puzzle is Sigiriya's strategic design. The entire complex, from the moats to the staggered entryways, functions like a fortress, yet historical records insist it was built as a royal retreat. Could there have been another purpose? The layout mirrors mandala designs found in Vedic texts, geometric patterns believed to harness energy or even influence consciousness. Local legends speak of Sigiriya as a place of power, built by King Kashyapa to ward off enemies both human and supernatural. The lion's paws carved into the final staircase, the last remnants of a colossal statue that once guarded the entrance, hint at something beyond mere symbolism. Was this rock the heart of a forgotten technology, a kind of ancient energy amplifier or observatory? The truth might lie in the alignments. During certain equinoxes, sunlight strikes the frescoes at angles that make the figures appear to move, while the summit's sightlines align with distant mountains in a pattern that mirrors constellations. By the 7th century, Sigiriya was abandoned, its secrets left to the jungle. Unlike cities destroyed by war or disaster, This one seems to have been deliberately vacated, as if its purpose had been fulfilled, or its knowledge too dangerous to keep. Today, the rock stands silent, its walls whispering riddles we're only beginning to decode. Whether palace, fortress, or something far more mysterious, one thing's certain: Sigiriya wasn't just built to impress. It was designed to endure and to hide something. The question is, what? Perched high in the alcoves of Colorado's sandstone cliffs, the ancient dwellings of Mesa Verde cling to the rock like swallows' nests, silent witnesses to a civilization that thrived here for centuries before vanishing into the mists of time. These aren't just shelters, they're feats of architectural brilliance, built by the ancestral Pueblones between 600 and 1300 CE. Imagine scaling sheer cliffs with nothing but handholds carved into stone, hauling timber and mortar to construct multi-story apartments that seem to grow organically from the rock itself. The precision is staggering, walls fitted snugly into natural recesses, windows aligned to capture the winter solstice sun, and terraced plazas that turned precarious ledges into communal spaces. But the real marvel lies beneath the surface, literally. Step inside one of the circular kivas, the ceremonial chambers sunken into the earth, and you'll notice something uncanny. Whisper a word, and the sound swirls around you, amplified and distorted as if the very walls are alive. This acoustic phenomenon wasn't accidental. The kiva's design, their cylindrical shape, the strategic placement of air vents, even the layers of plaster on the walls, creates a resonance that transforms human speech into something otherworldly. Archaeologists speculate these spaces were used for rituals where voice and vibration played a sacred role, perhaps to commune with spirits or amplify the words of spiritual leaders. Some kivas even feature a small hole in the floor called a sipapu, symbolizing the Pueblones' emergence from the underworld. When chants echoed through these chambers, did they believe they were bridging realms? The answer might lie in the petroglyphs etched into nearby canyon walls, spirals that mirror celestial patterns, handprints that seem to reach across time, and figures frozen mid-dance, as if the rock itself remembers their ceremonies. Yet for all their ingenuity, the ancestral Pueblones left Mesa Verde abruptly in the late 13th century. The cliff dwellings were emptied with eerie care, food stores left behind, tools neatly placed, doorways sealed. Traditional explanations point to a decades-long drought that parched the region, but the story isn't so simple. Tree rings reveal periods of aridity before, which the Pueblones weathered through sophisticated water management systems, check dams, reservoirs, and terraced fields that funneled every drop of rain. If they survived earlier droughts, why abandon their home now? Some researchers point to social unrest, noting evidence of fortified structures built in the final decades. Others suggest a spiritual catalyst, a prophecy perhaps, or a celestial sign that signaled it was time to move on. The most haunting clue comes from the pottery. In Mesa Verde's final years, designs grew increasingly intricate, as if artisans were pouring their entire worldview into clay. Then, suddenly, the patterns changed. Motifs from distant regions appeared, suggesting contact with other cultures. Was this a deliberate migration, a merging of communities seeking new beginnings? Today, the empty kivas still hum with the echoes of questions we've yet to answer. Mesa Verde's silence isn't just a mystery, it's an invitation to listen closer, to hear in the wind and the whispering stones the story of a people who mastered their world, only to walk away from it with purpose we may never fully understand. On the sun-drenched coast of modern-day Libya, where the Mediterranean waves crash against golden shores, the ruins of Leptis Magna stand as a haunting echo of Rome's forgotten rival. This wasn't just another provincial outpost, it was a city so magnificent that Emperor Septimius Severus, its most famous son, poured fortunes into making it a mirror of the capital itself. Walk through its towering arches, and you'll see why historians call it Rome's African twin. Colonnaded streets stretch for miles, a theater with near-perfect acoustics still whispers secrets, and the marketplace's mosaic floors depict scenes so vivid they seem to pulse with life. But beneath this grandeur lies a puzzle. How did a city so advanced, so lavishly engineered, vanish almost overnight from the pages of history? The answer might lie in the stones beneath your feet. Leptis Magna's hydraulic system was nothing short of revolutionary. While Roman aqueducts snaked across landscapes, this city's engineers mastered something subtler, a network of underground channels and cisterns that harvested every drop of rain, funneling it through filters so refined the water emerged crystal clear. Some reservoirs were lined with a unique mortar mixed with crushed pottery, a technique that prevented evaporation under the African sun. This wasn't just clever plumbing, it was a lifeline in a region where water meant power. Yet by the 4th century CE, these very channels began to clog with silt. Traditional histories blame barbarian invasions, but the truth may be far more unsettling. Recent excavations reveal layers of sediment laced with lead and mercury, hinting at industrial runoff, perhaps from massive workshops producing glass or dyes. Did Leptis Magna poison its own water supply in pursuit of progress? Then there's the enigma of its harbor. Once the pride of the Mediterranean, this engineering marvel used a system of breakwaters and sluice gates to combat the relentless sandbars that plagued North African ports. Ancient texts describe ships from as far as India docking here, their holds filled with spices and silks. But core samples tell a darker story. Around the 5th century, the harbor's intricate channels suddenly filled with an unnatural mix of sand and ash, as if a catastrophic event, a tsunami perhaps, or a deliberate sabotage, sealed its fate. The city's decline coincided with Rome's own unraveling, but Leptis fell faster, harder. Was it a casualty of empire, or did its people abandon something they could no longer control? The most tantalizing clues come from the bas-reliefs in the Severan Basilica. Among the usual scenes of imperial glory, one panel stands out, workers operating a massive crane-like device, its gears and pulleys resembling sketches from Renaissance notebooks. Archaeologists long assumed this was artistic license, but what if it wasn't? The city's monuments show precision cuts in granite that would challenge modern masons, with joints so tight they reject even the thinnest blade. Could Leptis Magna have harbored mechanical knowledge lost during Rome's collapse? The city's final years are a blur, no burning, no sacking, just a slow fade into obscurity as the dunes crept in. Today, its silent columns cast long shadows, not just over the Libyan coast, but over our understanding of how even the brightest civilizations can flicker out, leaving behind only whispers in the stone. Stretching across the arid plains of northern Peru, the sun-baked walls of Chan Chan rise like a mirage, a sprawling labyrinth of adobe so vast it dwarfs every other pre-Columbian city in the Americas. This was the beating heart of the Chimu Empire, a civilization that turned dust and water into an architectural marvel. But what's truly staggering isn't just the city's size, it's the precision etched into every brick. The walls aren't just functional, they're canvases adorned with intricate reliefs of fish, waves, and mythical creatures, each design so sharp it could have been carved yesterday. How did a culture working with fragile adobe, a material most civilizations used for humble homes, create art that outlasted empires? The answer might lie in Chan Chan's most overlooked genius, its water systems. In a land where rain is rarer than gold, the Chimu engineered a network of canals and wells so efficient they turned the desert into farmland. Their reservoirs, lined with crushed shells to filter impurities, could hold millions of gallons, while underground channels diverted mountain runoff with pinpoint accuracy. But here's the twist. These weren't just practical solutions. The canals formed geometric patterns mirroring celestial constellations, suggesting the Chimu saw water as something sacred, a cosmic force to be harnessed and revered. Some researchers believe their engineers understood hydrodynamics on a level that wouldn't be matched until the Industrial Revolution, using gravity and slope calculations that still baffle modern hydrologists. Then came the Inca. By the late 15th century, their armies surrounded Chan Chan, not with brute force, but with a strangling siege that cut off its water supply. The Chimu surrendered, but the real mystery begins after the conquest. Inca records speak of absorbing Chimu artisans and engineers into their own empire, yet Chan Chan's most advanced techniques, like the secret mortar mix that made their adobe walls weatherproof, never reappeared in Inca cities. Was this knowledge lost or deliberately suppressed? Excavations reveal a chilling clue. Many of Chan Chan's reliefs were defaced not by time but by hands. Symbols of Chimu gods were systematically erased, replaced by crude Inca motifs. This wasn't just a military takeover, it was a cultural overwrite. Yet the stones whisper secrets the conquerors missed. Beneath the main plaza, archaeologists recently uncovered a buried chamber filled with untouched metalwork, gilded masks, ceremonial knives, and sheets of hammered silver so thin they're translucent. The Chimu were master metallurgists, crafting alloys that resisted tarnish, a skill the Inca never fully replicated. Even more telling, the objects were arranged in perfect alignment with solstice shadows, as if hidden not from invaders, but for some future generation to rediscover. Chan Chan's legacy isn't just in its ruins, it's in the questions they force us to ask. When empires clash, how much knowledge is stolen, and how much is simply erased? And what might the Chimu have achieved if their city had endured just a century longer? The answers aren't written in the adobe, they're written in the silence that followed. Far to the north, where icebergs drift like shattered castles and the Arctic wind howls across empty fjords, the stone ruins of H. Valsey cling stubbornly to the Greenland coast. This wasn't just another Viking outpost, it was the last gasp of Norse ambition in the New World. A thriving farmstead where cattle grazed and children played right up until the early 15th century. The final record of its existence, a wedding in 1408, documented in Icelandic annals with eerie normalcy. After that silence, the guests rowed their longships home. The newlyweds presumably settled into life in their timber and turf hall, and then nothing. The settlement vanished so completely that when Danish colonists arrived 3 centuries later, they found only crumbling stone walls and unanswered questions. The simplest explanation points to the Little Ice Age, that slow creep of glaciers that turned Greenland's already harsh climate lethal. As winters lengthened and growing seasons shrank, the Norse would have watched their pastures wither and their livestock starve. But here's the puzzle. These were Vikings, descendants of people who thrived in some of Earth's most unforgiving environments. Their cousins in Iceland adapted by shifting from grain to hardy root crops and expanding fishing. Why couldn't H. Valsey's settlers do the same? Archaeologists have uncovered cod bones and seal remains in the ruins, proof they weren't ignoring marine resources entirely. The answer might lie in something far more human than climate pride. The Norse of Greenland clung to their European identity with almost tragic determination. They wore woolen tunics unsuitable for Arctic winters, built churches with imported stained glass, and stubbornly raised cattle instead of embracing the Inuit seal hunting techniques. Soil samples reveal something even more telling. layers of manure thinning over decades, suggesting their prized cows, symbols of status back in Norway, were slowly starving. Meanwhile, Inuit artifacts found at the site show the two cultures coexisted, but whether they traded knowledge or clashed remains unclear. A single Norse account mentions a skirmish with Skraelings, their term for indigenous peoples, but there's no evidence of violent overthrow. The real turning point may have been economic. Valsi's lifeblood was walrus ivory, shipped to Europe for cathedral altars and royal chess sets. When the Black Death ravaged Norway in 1349, the market collapsed. Later, African elephant ivory became cheaper, leaving Greenland's traders stranded. Without ships arriving to exchange iron tools for tusks, the colony's lifeline frayed. Imagine the scene, a chieftain staring at a half-built boat, lacking nails to finish it, watching the last merchant vessel disappear over the horizon. The glaciers didn't kill Valsi, isolation did. Yet the stones tell a quieter story. Excavations reveal no mass graves, no signs of panic. Homes were left tidy, tools placed neatly on shelves. This wasn't a desperate flight. It was a planned departure, as if the last families simply folded their sails and sailed west, perhaps to join Norse rumored to have mingled with the Micmac in Canada. Or maybe they boarded their ships one spring and vanished into the fog, leaving only the wind to mourn at Valsi's empty hearths. The truth slips between the cracks of history, as elusive as the northern lights dancing over the ruins. What lingers isn't just a mystery of survival, it's a lesson in how tightly we cling to who we think we are, even when the world demands we change. Crowning a windswept plateau along the Turkish-Armenian border, the skeletal remains of Ani rise like a medieval mirage, their silhouettes etched against the sky. Known as the City of 1001 Churches, this once thriving metropolis was the jewel of the Armenian kingdom, a crossroads of culture, faith, and innovation. At its height in the 11th century, Ani rivaled Constantinople in grandeur, its skyline bristling with spires and domes that showcased a mastery of stone few could match. But what's truly astonishing isn't just the scale of its architecture, it's the precision. The Cathedral of Ani, with its soaring arches and intricate filigree, was built with such mathematical exactness that its proportions echo the golden ratio, a concept not formally defined in Europe for another 400 years. How did medieval Armenian architects achieve such perfection without the tools we associate with later Gothic masterpieces? The answer might lie in the stones themselves. Ani's builders employed a technique called tuff masonry, using volcanic rock quarried from nearby cliffs. This lightweight yet durable material allowed them to construct walls of astonishing thinness, some barely a foot thick, while maintaining structural integrity. The secret, a mortar mix infused with crushed pottery and lime, creating a bond so strong that many walls still stand today, despite centuries of earthquakes and wars. But the real marvel is in the details. Look closely at the Church of St. Gregory, and you'll find carvings of interlocking geometric patterns so precise they resemble fractal equations. Some researchers believe these weren't just decorative. They may have served as architectural schematics, encoding building techniques passed down through generations of craftsmen. Then there's the mystery of Ani's bridges. The ruins of a single arch span still cling to the Akurian River gorge, its design so advanced that engineers still debate how it supported the weight of bustling caravans. The arch's curvature distributes force with a sophistication unseen elsewhere in the medieval world, suggesting an empirical understanding of physics that predates formal scientific principles. Even more intriguing are the remnants of underground channels beneath the city, some lined with ceramic pipes that hint at a pressurized water system technology thought to have vanished with the Romans. Was Ani a repository of forgotten engineering knowledge, a place where ancient techniques survived long enough to influence later innovations? Ani's downfall reads like a litany of tragedies: Mongol invasions, earthquakes, and finally, abandonment as trade routes shifted. Yet the city's ruins refused to surrender their secrets. In the shadow of the cathedral, archaeologists recently uncovered a workshop filled with half-finished carvings and tools, as if the artisans had stepped away mid-task. Among them lay a set of copper gauges, their markings corresponding to precise angular measurements. Were these the keys to Ani's architectural genius, or just fragments of a larger, lost system? The stones offer no easy answers, only whispers of a city that once bridged east and west, its legacy crumbling slowly under the weight of time and the weight of questions we've yet to solve. Tucked into the folds of Algeria's Oros Mountains, the ruins of Timgad rise from the desert like a ghostly blueprint of Roman perfection. Founded by Emperor Trajan in the year 100 CE, this was no ordinary colony. It was a living textbook of imperial urban design, a grid so precise it feels as though it was drawn with a ruler across the North African sands. Every street intersects at flawless right angles, dividing the city into uniform blocks called insulae, a masterclass in order that would make modern city planners weep with envy. But Timgad's genius wasn't just in its symmetry. It was in the subtle innovations hidden within its rigid lines. The city's sewers, for instance, were engineered with gradual slopes to prevent flooding, while its public fountains used a dual-channel system to separate drinking water from runoff, details that reveal a sophistication beyond mere aesthetics. Yet for all its planning, Timgad's abandonment remains one of antiquity's quietest mysteries. Unlike Pompeii, frozen in catastrophe, or Rome, eroded by slow decline, this city seems to have simply stopped. Its grand theater, once seating 3,000, shows no signs of fire or collapse. The library's shelves were emptied methodically, not ransacked. Even the aqueducts, those lifelines of Roman life, were left intact, their arches still standing like sentinels over empty streets. Conventional history points to the Vandals' 5th century raids, but the evidence is thin. There are no mass graves, no layers of ash, just a gradual thinning of coin finds and inscriptions, as if the city bled out slowly. Could the culprit have been something far less dramatic? Soil samples hint at an answer: creeping desertification. As the Sahara expanded, the very farmland that fed Timgad's prosperity may have turned to dust, forcing its citizens to walk away from perfection. What's most striking, though, is how Timgad's design may have hastened its own demise. That flawless grid, so ideal for military parades and tax collection, had a fatal flaw: rigidity. When the empire's power waned, there was no organic core to adapt, no tangled medieval alleys to repurpose, no layered neighborhoods to reinvent. Modern urbanists call this the Timgad paradox. The same order that creates efficiency can also stifle resilience. Compare it to the chaotic vitality of Fez or Cairo, cities that evolved over centuries by bending rather than breaking. Timgad's streets, wide enough for legionnaires to march, became barren canyons when the people left, while its grand forum, once the heart of civic life, stands today as a monument to the limits of control. But the city still whispers lessons to those who listen. Beneath the grid, archaeologists have uncovered something unexpected: a network of clandestine modifications. A shop here, a workshop there, carved into the strict insulae by later residents, proof that even the most rigid systems can't crush human ingenuity forever. Perhaps Timgad's true legacy isn't its rise or fall, but the tension it embodies between order and adaptability, a dance every civilization must navigate. As the desert wind hums through its empty colonnades, one question lingers. Did Timgad fail because it was too perfect, or because perfection itself is the most fragile illusion of all? High in the mist-wrapped peaks of northern Peru, where the Andes dissolve into the Amazon, the fortress of Cuelap clings to a mountain ridge like a sentinel frozen in stone. Known as the Machu Picchu of the north, this sprawling citadel of the Chachapoya people isn't just remote, it's enigmatic, its purpose as shrouded as the clouds that swirl around its walls. Built around 600 CE, Cuelap's most striking feature isn't its age, but its defiance of logic. Imagine a fortress encircled by walls 60 feet tall, constructed from thousands of limestone blocks, some weighing several tons, hauled up slopes so steep modern hikers gasp for breath. The precision of the masonry is astonishing, with stones fitted so tightly that even now, after centuries of earthquakes and downpours, you can't slip a coin between them. But here's the puzzle. These walls don't just protect, they conceal. The layout of Cuelap is unlike any other Andean city. Instead of rectangular plazas and angular temples, it's a maze of 400 circular buildings, their nested rings resembling ripples in water. Some structures feature unusual carvings, serpents, eyes, and geometric patterns that echo symbols found as far away as Mesoamerica. Was this a military stronghold or a ceremonial hub where rituals unfolded under the watch of stone sentinels? The answer might lie in the bones. Excavations have uncovered tombs within the walls, their occupants buried with textiles so vibrant they still gleam with dyes made from rare jungle plants. Yet there are also sling stones stockpiled in towers, suggesting Cuelap's people prepared for war. Perhaps the truth is both, a place where the sacred and the strategic intertwined, where priests and warriors shared the same misty heights. Then there's the jungle's relentless reclamation. While Machu Picchu's open terraces bask in sunlight, Cuelap is being swallowed by the cloud forest. Orchids root in its mortar, moss softens its edges, and trees burst through floors as if the earth itself is pulling the city back into the green. This slow embrace adds another layer of mystery. The Chachapoya, called the Warriors of the Clouds by the Inca, left no written records, only fragments of oral history suggesting they believed their ancestors emerged from the forest. Could Cuelap's return to the wild be part of some ancient prophecy, a deliberate surrender to nature's cycle, or is it simply the work of time, erasing a civilization that dared to build where even the air feels alive? Modern technology has peeled back some of the jungle's secrets. LiDAR scans reveal terraces and roads hidden beneath the foliage, hinting at a network of settlements radiating from Cuelap's core. But the most tantalizing clue came in 2016, when archaeologists uncovered a burial site unlike any other, a wall of skulls, each one perforated with precise holes, as if part of some forgotten ritual or macabre display. Were these trophies of war or sacred relics meant to bridge worlds? The Chachapoya's defiance of the Inca, their fierce resistance before finally being absorbed into the empire, suggests a people who clung fiercely to their identity. In Cuelap's silent stones, we see not just a lost city, but a lost way of seeing the world, one where walls weren't just barriers, but living membranes between earth and sky, between the seen and the unseen. Today, as the mist curls through Cuelap's empty doorways, the fortress whispers a challenge. It asks us to reconsider not just who the Chachapoya were, but what we've overlooked in our rush to label the past. This isn't just a ruin, it's a riddle wrapped in stone and vine, waiting for the right hands to unravel it. And with every step the jungle takes deeper into its heart, the clock ticks louder. What secrets will we learn before the clouds claim them forever? Across these 24 ancient cities, scattered like fragments of a forgotten puzzle, certain patterns emerge with unnerving consistency. The same constellations etched into temple walls in Mesoamerica reappear in Cambodian hydraulics. Identical acoustic principles resonate in Turkish underground chambers and atop Peruvian plateaus. And then there are the stones, those impossibly fitted blocks, those megaliths moved across mountains and deserts by hands we still don't fully understand. The question isn't just what these civilizations achieved, but how they arrived at such similar breakthroughs, often separated by oceans and millennia. One school of thought points to a lost golden age, a prehistory where knowledge flowed freely across continents, perhaps via seafaring cultures or migratory scholars whose names have vanished from memory. Proponents of this idea highlight eerie parallels: the Mayan and Egyptian reverence for Orion's belt, the shared use of Fibonacci-like spirals in both Celtic and Japanese sacred art, or the global prevalence of earthquake-resistant architecture in regions with no known contact. Could these be echoes of a unified system, a proto-science that once bound humanity together before some cataclysm scattered its pieces? Skeptics counter with the principle of convergent innovation, the idea that humans, faced with similar challenges, naturally arrive at similar solutions. After all, water flows downhill everywhere, and the stars move predictably for every culture. Why wouldn't isolated societies independently develop aqueducts or align temples with solstices? Yet even this explanation stumbles when confronted with anomalies. Take the vitrified stones found at Mohenjo-Daro and Scottish hill forts, fused by heat so intense it rivals modern plasma torches. Or the global myths of sky gods delivering forbidden knowledge, from Prometheus's fire to the Dogon's celestial wisdom. These aren't just practical solutions, they're cultural fingerprints hinting at something deeper. The silence of these cities only magnifies the mystery. Without written records or with scripts we can't decipher, like the Indus Valley symbols or Rongo-Rongo of Easter Island, we're left reading shadows. Archaeologists resort to reverse engineering, piecing together techniques from tool marks and material traces. In Teotihuacan, the absence of wheel ruts suggests transport methods beyond sledges and rollers. At Göbekli Tepe, the lack of metal tools raises questions about how hunter-gatherers carved intricate reliefs into limestone. Each absence is a clue, whispering that our textbooks might be missing chapters. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. Maybe there wasn't a single lost civilization, but a series of interconnected hubs where knowledge sparked and spread like embers carried by trade winds. The Phoenicians, for instance, sailed far beyond the Mediterranean, possibly linking Mesopotamian mathematics to Celtic metallurgy. The Silk Road wasn't the first of its kind, just the most recent. And oral traditions, now faded, might have once carried secrets as precisely as any blueprint. What's undeniable is this: these cities challenge the linear narrative of human progress. They suggest peaks and valleys in our technological journey, moments where brilliance flared and then dimmed. Whether through catastrophe, deliberate suppression, or simply the slow erosion of time, we're left with fragments. And in those fragments, a tantalizing possibility that the past wasn't a straight path from primitive to advanced, but a mosaic of discoveries, losses, and rediscoveries. The real mystery isn't just how they built these cities, but how much they knew that we're still struggling to relearn. These abandoned cities aren't just relics of the past, they're mirrors reflecting pieces of human ingenuity we've somehow forgotten. Think about it: how could builders at Göbekli Tepe, working over 11,000 years ago, align massive stone pillars with celestial events so precisely? Why did the architects of Teotihuacan embed mica, a mineral used today in electronics, into their pyramids? And what kind of knowledge allowed the Chimu to craft adobe walls at Chan Chan so durable they've outlasted empires? These aren't random anomalies, they're breadcrumbs leading us toward a startling possibility that ancient civilizations may have grasped concepts we're only now beginning to rediscover. Consider the patterns, from the hydraulic genius of Angkor Wat to the earthquake-proof foundations of Caral. These cities share an uncanny understanding of natural forces. It's as if their builders possessed a unified science, one that blended astronomy, engineering, and ecology into a seamless whole. The Maya tracked planetary cycles with jaw-dropping accuracy, while the Nabateans transformed deserts into gardens using gravity-fed water systems. These weren't lucky guesses, they were the products of observation honed over generations, knowledge passed down through channels we can barely glimpse today. Yet the most haunting question isn't how they achieved these feats, but why their technologies vanished. Some collapses were dramatic, like Hattusa's fiery end or Cahokia's slow unraveling under climatic shifts. Others, like the peaceful departure from Caral or the orderly abandonment of Mesa Verde, suggest deliberate choices. Were these societies guarding secrets too dangerous to preserve, or did their wisdom simply fade when the scribes who recorded it were gone? The silence of these ruins speaks volumes, reminding us that progress isn't a straight line, it's a spiral where innovations rise, disappear, and sometimes re-emerge centuries later under different names. That's why these sites matter now more than ever. In a world facing climate crises and resource shortages, the lessons etched into these stones, sustainable water management, resilient architecture, harmony with celestial cycles, feel eerily relevant. The past isn't just a curiosity, it's a library of solutions waiting to be reopened. So the next time you see a crumbling wall or a weathered glyph, look closer. What seems like a relic might just be a blueprint for the future. If you're ready to keep exploring these mysteries with us, hit subscribe. The deeper we dig, the more we realize history's greatest stories are still being uncovered, one stone at a time.